Hey everybody, this is Greg Harries. I'm your live stream host. This is bout two of our independent individual finals. We're saying individual, not independent. In this bout, you're going to hear for some great poets. We'll get to that in a little bit. I just wanted to welcome you into things. You're going to be hearing from Amanda Marco from Waverly, Vicky Klafter from Norfolk, Charlotte Elsasser from Marion, Tim Kirkhope from Millard West, Haley Brown from Seward High School, Sierra Hunsinger from Millard South, Charlie Curtis Beard from Lincoln High School, and Yara Williams from Duchesne. Excited to see Haley Brown from Seward High School. They didn't actually have a team in the tournament, so that's a nice little wrinkle there. But that is our bout. You'll be hearing from those people shortly. I've got to go plug my meter, so I'm going to leave you here. Turn the audio down, but we'll kick things off in just a little bit with a bout draw and an order and all that good stuff. So we'll talk to you soon. In the meantime, talk in the chat, share the link, youtube.com/LTAB Omaha. Talk to you soon.
right, so who here has never been to a poetry slam before, especially not in the last hour and a half? Okay, well, since there are so many new faces here.
Sorry to have the audio down, folks. Here we
A
are.
poetry slam was invented in the 1980s by a Chicago construction worker named Mark Smith, who thought that poetry readings were so boring that he thought that the best judges of this skill would be 5 randos in the audience. And boy, was he right. So, what? They are random. And then it took over the world. And now, in what year was that? 2001. Holy cow. Louder Than a Bomb is the youth poetry slam, which was also invented in Chicago by people who were not construction workers. They were just poets named Kevin Coble and Anna West. Clearly we have like no regard for Chicago over here. Because since that time, Louder Than a Bomb, Great Plains has grown to be the 3rd largest poetry slam in the world. We're the biggest one outside of Chicago. 32 schools across the region, area. And 24 of those schools are represented today in the individual finals. So here's what's going to happen. Like 7 students, one from 7 different schools, are going to come up and do a poem for you in a predetermined order. That's what you saw them doing in a circle up here, was determining the order. And then they will go in a different order in the second round, but each poet will get to do 2 poems. And then the top 4 highest scoring poets, with their scores added together, will be going on to the finals tonight at 7 p.m. Each poem will be original work, lasting no longer than 3 minutes and 10 seconds, and will not feature any props, costumes, or accompaniment from anyone other than their own self and the voices in their head.
Alrighty then. So now rules and regulations and stuff like that, whatever they're called. In the interest of creating the safest and most inclusive space possible, we ask that poems not contain profanity, sexually explicit or pornographic language, gratuitous violence, racial, ethnic, gender-biased, homophobic, religious, ableist, or otherwise discriminatory slurs, speech, or language. That said, some of our poets may issue trigger warnings if their poems contain potentially traumatic content, though that isn't a requirement. Each poem will be scored by 5 judges on a scale from 0 to 0 to 10.0. Are we supposed to tell them what that is?
You can if you want to, yeah.
Okay, will you tell them what a 0.0 is?
A 0.0 feels like somebody killed a puppy on your birthday. I don't know.
Go with.
For your birthday. What's a 10 feel like, Gianna?
A 10.0 is like riding on a sled pulled by chinchillas and live puppies through, like, Naples, France, or wherever that is.
I like that. That's good.
Because chinchillas are cool.
Chinchillas are cool. Hashtag.
Yeah, right. We'll drop the high and the low score, then add the 3 middle scores together. At the end of the bout, we added people's scores together, and whoever has the highest number wins the bout. Judges, keep your scores consistent. Do not let the audience sway you. You'll score the poem based on the merits of the poem, not based on not based on the person, or how the audience reacts to your scores.
Yeah.
Not the audience. Audience. Your job is to give as much love to the poets as you can and to sway those judges. What are you going to do if you hear a poem that just rocks your socks and is totally amazing? And what are you going to do if the judge, like, scores it as, like, a 5 or 4 or 3? Exactly. Thank you.
Exactly. So, sounds like we're ready to start the poetry slam, aren't we? All right, let's just start it. What's that? I can't hear you. Sacrifice! 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 I could just keep yelling that for a long time. What's about to happen is that you'll hear a poet who's not competing in the actual competition. So judges, this is your chance to practice scoring. And audience, this is your job to practice clapping wildly for the first poet to the stage. Give it up for Evelyn! As that wonderful woman with red hair said, I am Evelyn. I go to Ralston. Before I begin, I want to say that this poem does have a trigger warning. And if you do need to get up in the middle of my poem as I'm reading, please go ahead. I will understand, and I'll be out there afterwards to give you hugs. My poem is titled Letter to God. When are you going to ask forgiveness from Daddy's little princess? What do you have to say to Mama's baby girl when her innocence was stolen away? What do you do when young daughters beg, cry, plead, and pray for each second, minute, hour, day, every year, every decade to pass by quicker? Because this memory is like a hairline trigger. Anything could become a reminder of the time a stranger raped her. I was only 8 the first time I was touched. The stranger renting my aunt's basement had built me a fort made of chairs, blankets, and pillows, a private fort for me to stack books against flimsy cotton cloth walls. What I thought to be a promising sanctuary turned out to become a repressed and faded memory of unwanted hands beneath my clothes. I made no sounds. I paid no attention to those hands. I kept on reading, hoping for time to quicken, hoping for God to show. You never showed. I went on with life, pushing back that moment as far to the back of my mind as it could go. Running away from those nights, I lay in bed and feel ghost hands gliding along my skin again. And in a selfish attempt to numb those hands, I retreat to self-medication's embrace, as though the pills, blunts, bottles, and blades were a long-lost lover. Who would have thought that this lover would be the reason I'd sob your name again? God, I bet you didn't think it'd happen again. On a warm June night, I'm a typical girl of only 17 that just wanted some fun. I didn't think all that weed and all that rum would betray me. I didn't think there would be something slipped in my drink. I just didn't think. And now I have a new memory of different hands, a memory scorching my mind's eye. I still feel his undesired touch on my bare body. I still feel those hands, regardless of how hard I try to forget the hazy kisses and being carried downstairs, my clothes frantically stripped and flung onto the floor, soundless screams as he forces his way into me, his ragged breath, my name dripping from his drunken tongue, my body tensing, my unspoken prayer, waiting to be answered. God, why are you so quiet? Stop playing this damn silent game. Am I deaf, or are you ignoring me because you never showed up when I was screaming your name the first, second, or third time? Yes, God, there was a third time, but you don't seem to care. You never appear on the nights I feel invisible hands on my body. You are never there when the flashbacks happen, and I'm praying, dear God, just let it be over. It's horrible the moment it happens. But it's fucking cruel to unwillingly relive it over and over and over again. God, what did I do to deserve this punishment? God, I know I'm a sinner. Stop giving me the silent treatment. I needed you. Why did you never help me? I needed you to save me, especially on the nights I'd split my wrist, adorning it with broken promises. God, do you even exist? Are you a mere figment of the imagination? God, if you do exist, then when will you realize that no matter how sincerely you apologize, I will never forgive you.
All right. That is Evelyn from Ralston with a very strong poem as our sacrificial poet.
Judges, you have about 3 seconds to decide. 3, 2, 1. Scores up. And make sure you leave them up until I'm all done. From low to high, we have a 7.9, an 8.4, an 8.5, and an 8.9, and a 9. I'm sorry, is there anybody in the audience right now? All right. Give it up for the first poem of the first round, Sierra.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Sierra Huntsinger and I'm a senior at Millard South. And this is called Almost Love. We argue all the time. There is so many holes in his stained white walls. I have lost track of which fight is which. It is a shame what he has done to me. It is all his fault for not being smart enough to understand that my moody, heavy heart needs space. He asks me, "What's wrong, Sierra? What did I do?" As if he thinks he's the reason why I'm mad, and when my name comes out of his mouth, I decide it is his fault. It is his fault why my anger has electrified my brutal cold shoulder. He is my target, and I will make him feel like a nobody for no reason, because I'd rather him feel like a nobody than me. Bad enough, I am a nobody at school. At home, my footsteps are soft droplets of brief hellos, and into the room it is where I sit and smother myself in fears of always being this way. Guilt of treating him the way I do aches my ill incandescent mind, brings my heart to a boil, melting it into the brittle bones of my ribcage. But no, show no weakness or remorse. I will show him who is boss, just like Mom taught me. Reel him in, give him his utmost desire, then force him away to the other side so he can sit and try to figure out what he did. And it's every day, every day, every day. Every little thing he does bothers me, though it really doesn't. I just want to have control. I want to be in charge. I want to blame everything on him, because I am sick of everything being blamed on me. And for a while, I'm getting my way. He loves me when I want him to. He yells at me when I want him to. He says, "Sorry, I hate you. It's all my fault. I'm such a bad boyfriend" when I want him to. So much control, and it feels so good to know that I can make a person so weak so that I can feel strong. Strong with the glow of the phosphorescent sun in all its entirety. I have him where I want him. His thoughts are wrapped around my pinky, his beating unknowing heart in my throat, and his deepest desires in the back pocket of my too tight skinny jeans. No apologies, my way and shameful attitude pushing him to the edge of no return. He doesn't want to leave, but I'm trying to make him, because if he stays, I'll only kill his Garfield smile, his eyes that are starry blue galaxies, his laugh that brings forth my jealousy, because I want to laugh like that. Wait a second, his eyes are getting wider, eyebrows standing like tall jagged mountaintops, caps of white disgust seen right through my continual sharp manipulation, slowly unmasking the dirty game called I love you, that I love to win every time, except I don't think my game is working anymore. He's seeing past my cries that I say are him but are really me tonight. He gets my burdens, burning away the girl he wanted to love so bad, walking away, distance growing, my heart slowing. He is leaving me. And I'm silently whispering all the things he deserves to hear. I am sorry for putting you through hell and making you think you weren't good enough. You are beautiful, baby. Please don't go. You're all I have. I know I'm horrible, but I love you. It's sick love, but it's love. And he can't hear me. He is gone. No goodbye. And I have no one but my own wicked self to blame for not admitting to my inexcusable cruelty to a boy I loved to hurt. He'll never hear my "I'm sorry." He'll only remember me as the girl who drenched his stained white walls in misery, forcing him to punch holes. Holes that will always be a reminder that he was almost loved, but couldn't be, because I didn't know what love even was.
All right, that is Sierra, wonderful writer from Millard South, a new team in the tournament this year and one of the strongest performers.
Numbers are good.
Going for the same sort of high energy strategy that
All right,
Haley brought in the first
high,
bout.
we have an 8, an 8.1, an 8.2, an 8.8, and a 9.1. Give it up for the poet.
All right,
And
so Sierra will
keep
score
that
a
whatever's going
25.1.
for Monty.
That's a 25.1 for Sierra to open the round. Here's Monty
Hi.
from Millard West.
I am Monty. I'm from Millard West, and this is the... Thank you. And this is the Ballad of Man vs. Food Guy. We gather here today to celebrate the life and times of a true hero, one that deserves to walk through the Greek pantheon and feast in the halls of Valhalla on a 35-pound boar steak doused in hot sauce and chili that could tempt Loki. Today, we are here for the Man vs. Food Guy. In life, he could sling sausages like six-shooters. His plate was a Spartan shield. His condiments were grenades. A fork in his hand was as powerful as Poseidon's trident, and his knife was literally a knife. But as the seasons and seasonings wore on, the heat from those hot wings began to make his face look like a melting mozzarella ball. In his final days, he was found on the kitchen floor, clutching a can of Cheese Whiz into the crook of his arm, a little trickle of canned cheese leaking from the corner of his mouth. Both his belt and his veins had burst. In the autopsy, they found a single slice of tomato and said, "At least he tried." And the world yelled out, "Why couldn't he have been challenged with a light salad?" We are here today to bury the man versus food guy in a burrito large enough to be a soldier's sleeping bag. The beef and cheese-filled casket will be carried to his final resting place with a slice of pizza draped across the top, and he will be lowered into the final resting bowl using ropes made from braided Twinkies. We will then take turns shoveling piles of salt, pepper, sugar, and ground up Oreos into his grave. It will be a tasteful burial. We have all brought bottles of hot sauce to leave on his grave because it is too late for any leafy greens. Let us all join in prayer that his ghost is not forced to haunt all the victory walls he could never get on in life. Amen. Rumors are tossed out between chefs attempting to flip a 27-pound hamburger that you sold your soul to stomach an ocean of grease that could put the Pacific in its place. But we know your journey was more spiritual than that. Much like Moses, you split your sea, but you split yours into 3 separate meals. And maybe a few snacks when the camera started rolling. But then the great flood was upon you, and suddenly you're just a man whose salvation turned into a deep-fried, bona fide sextuplet servings on a stick hellscape. Hear my whisper, man versus food guy. Your efforts won't only be clogged in your veins. Your assaults on mankind's true Frankenstein's monsters will not be forgotten. You will receive your just desserts. The rest of that tomato they found in your autopsy.
That is Monty from Millard West, wasting no time in bringing the weird.
Thank you, Monty.
Millard West had some truly remarkable poetry this year. Very, very unusual.
From low to high, we have an 8, an 8, an 8.8, an 8.9, and an 8.9 for Monty. Keep it going for Amanda.
All right, so that's a 25.7 for Monty. Building on Sierra. Next up, we have Amanda from Waverly. Waverly was in the finals this year, so expect good things.
Hi,
Here we go.
I'm Amanda Marco. I'm from Waverly High School, and this is Anatomy of a Pen and Paper. I don't know how to write poetry. Nobody ever taught me metaphors or inverted syntax or how to move someone through words. Nobody ever handed me a pencil and said, make your own paper. I never built a resume of finished edited works. I kept rambling about the same themes, speaking my life through adjectives and similes, trying to communicate the hand gestures and vocal inflection. But when nobody teaches you poetry, you learn your own techniques and definitions. You learn that poetry is not a genre, it is a bodily function. The air exchanging between lungs and ears, a steady beat of a heart, setting the meter for rhythm and mismatched rhymes you can buy at thrift stores. It is deep in my bones behind marrow and blood cells, a raw madness trapped in a ballpoint pen released by my hand on paper. It's a relentless tug at my heart when I hear my favorite song. It starts with the world behind my eyes, taking form in sounds and literary shapes, covering my arms like skin cells, kicking off just as often as they form beneath the surface. Sensory neurons remind me that when I give away my experience too quickly, it draws blood. Every ounce of me works to be whole again, leaving a sliver of glued skin, glued ideas, amassed memories and emotions, of standing up for my sister and soaking in her sadness, to dull the agony of being different, the agony of ruthless teenage girls poking fun at her physicality, the agony of being fearlessly artistic in a school that doesn't understand what true beauty is. They don't understand what it's like to be a person whose circulatory system stretches like tubular symphonies throughout their body. My mind scribbles across every canvas left blank, spreading words like hot breath in the middle of winter. Self-expression is an involuntary action, much like flinching at lipstick smears and fists. I flinch at the format trying to confine me into thin body, narrower mind, a vicious mold of thigh gap and flat stomach pressing up against me like I'm too much for it to handle. So I think in free verse, rereading parts of me left forgotten, the parts where I tried changing, tried formatting myself to look like a cover girl. I reread the parts where I realized I don't have to change me to fit me. I'm the writer deciding how to live my life, the sculptor shaping my muffin top and thunder thighs, the singer whispering my personal lullaby. I forgot I could write my own story. And I want to share it with my 13-year-old sister, to have our lives intertwined. I want my words to guide her to free verse where she has room to grow and not be strangled by toothpick girls and Hollister-clad boys who think they know everything. I want her to know the word kabod, a Hebrew term for glory meaning heavy in weight. I want her to write, to make paper, to ask me for a pencil. I want her to ignore insults because we aren't elementary slurs perfected by the average teenager. We are the writers, the singers, the painters, the sculptors, the uneducated philosophers, the kid in the corner who can spell ambiguity, the morning till night readers, the indecisive doodlers, the outside the line scribblers, the quiet ones who know too much. We're the poets, and we won't forget it.
All right, that is Amanda coming to us from Waverly High School, one of our finalist teams this year. Yeah, strong riding from her. Great performance. The judges liked it during our team competition, that poem, so let's see how they come back on it this time.
Show me numbers on whiteboards. What? Oh, okay. All right. From low to high, we have an 8.7, an 8.7, an 8.7, an 8.8, and a 9.2. Poet, give it up for them. And keep the celebratory noise making going for Vicky.
All right, so that is a 26.2 for Amanda. Scores are kind of creeping up. But maybe that's just the poems getting better. And really, who cares about scores? Up next is Vicky from Norfolk.
I'm Vicky. I'm from Norfolk, and the title of my piece is Shazed Shel Emet. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'etzani beltsamo. Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who created me in his image. The baby sits, head gently lolled to the side, resting on the plastic bar that shapes the nest in which he sleeps. But although intact, the stroller is marred and wrong. It is horizontal. It is charred by the red lips of flame that just violently kissed this city corner, and that baby will never wake up. The seams of this scene are shredded, the stuffing of the bus extracted by an explosive wind. Its cotton ball contents lie strewn on the ground like nimbus clouds, thin, dark, and stretched to the point of separation until abdomens no longer have legs, ankles have no feet, and solitary hands lie palm up, fingers casually curled inward, like a student hesitating before asking a question because for a moment they lost their head. This is death. This is horror. This is hate. For Jewish and Islamic faiths, the only act more important than caring for the dead is saving a life. In 1989, an organization called Shazed Shel Emet took it upon themselves to care for the victims of terrorist attacks. With neon vests zipped around their chest, these selfless volunteers begin to collect the mangled limbs and organs that coat the street, and they weep. They paint in the color of each portrait with dried blood scraped from boiled concrete, completing each with a frame of a body bag and a blue Star of David crowning the shroud. They look upon the rows of figurines now made of wax. They see the cubist shapes of Picasso, eyes and ears in the wrong spots, and they weep. But they are not finished. They gather their chisels and paintbrushes, and they piece together the final mosaic of a breathless muse whose chest is seared by the crisscross straps of explosives. They fill in the outline of the attacker with the same color red that flowed in the busted veins of those he destroyed. And when it is complete, they do not cover it with a canvas sky of David's stars, but instead they return that violent kiss with their own cracked lips, pressed to the blank sheet in a silent prayer of forgiveness that is louder than any bomb, because to them this broken sculpture was also created in the image of God. This is life. This is honor. This is love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'etzani beltsamo. Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who created us all in his image.
That is Vicky from Norfolk. Norfolk, our most distant team, also a really strong contender this year. They came in and they did their bouts back-to-back on the same night, one after the other, and made it to semifinals.
From low to
Vicky's a big
high,
part of
we
that
have
team.
8.1, an 8.4,
Come
a
on!
9.3,
There you
a
go.
9.3, and a 9.8 for Vicky. Keep it going for Charlotte!
All right, so that is a 27 even, actually, for Vicky, our strongest score of the bout so far. For a really bit of amazing riding from her. And this is Charlotte from Marion High.
Hi, my name is Charlotte. I am a junior at Marion High School, and this is called Chapstick. You bought me chapstick. I didn't ask you to buy me chapstick, and I think I'm offended. Because while I was talking, you were staring at the winter on my lips, but you weren't listening to what the winter was saying. I was trying to tell you something. I've been trying to tell you something for years. Since my mother died. My mother wasn't just another person. November 16th isn't just your birthday, and I'm not just another thing for you to fix. You aren't Mother Nature or the south side of the equator. This winter will pass on its own. And I suppose what we all need to accept is that seasons come and go, and this winter will too. You forget that my predispositions don't come from your side of the family. Don't tell me it's my negative outlook on life. Don't remind me to please take my medication. Don't say, you just need to let it go. I've already lost it all. And I've grown out of all of your parenting books, and I forget that you are more human than me. You've broken more hearts and more rules, and to you, I am a perfect broken porcelain doll. I fall apart every time you put me back together. If only you had kept the receipt. I'm sorry I smoked. I'm sorry I drank. I'm sorry I sometimes like girls. I'm sorry I'm not a virgin. I'm sorry I'm sad. You can't understand what it's like to go weeks on end without ever feeling hope and be addicted to that feeling. You don't understand how weddings could make me so nervous or how summer might make me sad, but luckily, seasons come and go. And as long as you don't make like the seasons, as long as you aren't my summer, my weeks on end with nothing to do, my winter, my cold, chapped months, it'll be okay. I'll be okay. Don't blame yourself. You aren't Mother Nature. You're my dad, and it's not your fault.
All right, that is Charlotte from Marion High School, another new team to the tournament this year, coached by a wonderful poet in Omaha named Rebecca Shaw, or from Nebraska, really. She's just one of the best in the state. So
Show me the slate.
I love to hear their writing.
All right,
Here
from
come the
low to
scores.
high, we have a 7.7, a 7.9, an 8, an 8.5, and a 9.2. Give it up for the poets. And keep the applause going for Niara.
All right, so that is a 24.4 for Charlotte from Marion. And Niara from Duchesne Academy is up now. She is an outgoing senior this year. She's great. There you go.
My name is Niara Williams, and I'm from Duchesne Academy. Nini, short for Niara. My father is proud of his children's Swahili names, despite the world's inability to pronounce them, despite the fact that I must provide a pronunciation on most of my name tags. Niara looks like Niera, Niera, Niara, Nieria, Nair, and sometimes drips slowly and uncertainly out of mouths like Niagara, as if I've misspelled my own name without a G. When I tell them the proper pronunciation, they sigh a mixture of relief and embarrassment. What a pretty name! Like they aren't sure if it should be. So after they first learn my name, I offer the option of Nini. One sweet syllable repeated twice. It is simple and easy to spell, unless they assume it's a weird black name with too many syllables, and they don't know why we can't just give our children normal names, as though normality and beauty can be measured by the Western meter stick. Every child with a difficult name knows that people will destroy it, gnash it to pieces in their mouth, make jokes out of it, blame the parents for it. Some people wonder how a woman can carry a life for 9 months, bear the pain of labor, hold a small wonder in her arms, and name it Laquisha. Laquisha originating from Lakeisha, a Swahili name meaning the favorite. Deja, like the French word, meaning already because a mother could feel her strength and spirit before she was even born. Aliyah, an Arabic name rising above the English language, and the word exalted. Alexis, Greek in origin, she means defender. Alexis will spend a disproportionate amount of her life defending her right to be named. Deja will endure the sneers of introduction again and again and again as people are offended by what her mother so lovingly crowned her birth certificate, Aliyah. They don't teach you that they never emancipated your etymology. Many still believe your name is a hodgepodge of ghetto gibberish, a side effect of our destructive culture. Let them wish we were Becky. Let them wish we were Amy. Let them wish we were Brittany, Kayla, Emma, anything but Deja, Aaliyah, Alexis, LaQuisha. You will always be the favorite.
And that is Niara Williams from Duchenne Academy. Duchenne always shows up big in these bouts, and Niara has been a key part of their success for these years.
From low to high, we have a 9.1, a 9.2, a 9.3, a 9.5, and a 9.7 for Niara. Keep it going for Charlie!
All right. So that's a 28 for Niara. Charlie's up now from Lincoln High.
My name is Charlie Curtis Beard. I'm a senior representing Lincoln High School.
You know?
My hand's purpose of existence is to express the intimate feelings from me, transfer them to you. In August 2013, I fell for you so hard. Maybe it's because we were never Facebook official. Or maybe because the memory of you slipping away is so dang similar to your hair sliding between my fingers. See, I never wanted you to go. September 2013. I freaking hate love poems. I always hated the fact that people attempted to love someone more than they loved themselves, and that didn't change when I met you. That changed when I lost you. October 2013. I freaking hate love poems. But I might write one about you. Just so you look at me differently, take my open vulnerability and snatch me back in your premises as fast as our relationship ended. See, I freaking hate love poems, but I'd write one about our history. Screw intertwined fingers, we intertwine dreams into twisted fantasies. November 2013, I promise to God you will live to regret this. I freaking hate love poems. Yet I keep writing them about you. December 2013, I wrote a love poem, but it kind of sucked because it wasn't really a love poem. It was more like me replaying and rephrasing words you would say to me to a nonstop end, like, honestly, I think you'd be better if we remained friends. Honestly, I think you'd be better if we remained friends. Honestly, I think you'd be better if we remained distant. You can't fix this. Open jealousy, contradictions, and predicaments. It was about tiptoeing around the fact that I never treated you like you deserved. But that's because I don't think any man could treat you like you deserved. But if it had to be someone, it had to be me. It has to be me. It has to be January 2014. Around 5:30 p.m., you belched his name at the dinner table. Don't you have any goddamn manners? See, you wrote a love poem, but it wasn't about me. No, it was more like me sitting around, imagining him doing things with you that we were supposed to do together. I bet his hands feel so familiar. I bet if I were to shake his hand, I could feel all my feelings for you from him. And it feels like you're taking pity on me. Redirect your sympathy. I don't need empathy. We can learn to hate each other, but live in the present like we're dying tomorrow. And if we're dying tomorrow, I'd use these hands to grab on you today. So today, you can feel my feelings for you will last for eternity. And we'd be in eternity, talking about infinity, transferring intimacy, clenching onto Almighty, imagining false paths like it was a part of our history. And we'd be doing things that contradict what you said to me. But a part of me would die because it still kind of hurts to be around you. I heard you love God now. I heard you love God. Now, if that's true, do me a favor and send him a prayer for me. Tell him I'm ready to get over you. No, tell him that I need to get over you. See, I do it myself, but I use my hands in infinity, expressing the intimate feelings from me, transferring them to you. Today, I freaking hate love poems. But I might write one about you.
And that is Charlie from Lincoln High, the current reigning champs, two-time champions of Louder Than a Bomb, Great Plains.
Thank you, Charlie.
One of their
Judges,
anchor members
3,
and outgoing
2,
senior this
1.
year, and outgoing on to
From low
amazing
to high,
things.
we have an
Their scores-
8.5, a 9.0, a 9.0, a 9.4, and a 9.6 for Charlie. You lived to the end of the first round. In just a second, Andrew's going to give me the order for the second round. So that's cool. If you have any friends out there who make bad life choices, like not being here right now, you can text them. Now would be a good moment to text them and tell them to turn their computer to youtube.com/LTABOmaha so they can watch the live stream. Oh, the live stream of this bout is on the internet at youtube.com/LTABOmaha. Oh, okay, you guys all did a terrible job at that bit. Does everybody, the camera's right there if you want to wave hi to the internet. Hi, internet. Okay, wow. Thanks, Jake. And the order for the second round is Niara, Charlie, Vicky, Amanda, Sierra, Monty, and Charlotte. So get ready for the second round. Give it up for Niara.
I see you. Yeah, you do. As Ruth so kindly said, I'm Niara Williams. When I was young, I used to wait for the sirens when it got late. Watch the cops as they come by and brush away the blue-tailed fly. Jimmy cracked corn. I didn't care when Jimmy first scraped his knees on the playground. No one did. Little brown boys with little red knees made no papers. It didn't matter that they were bullying him. Jimmy's mama stitched the word target the first time the needle pointed to her veins, embroidering visible misery and knitting together the eyebrows of every mother that saw her walking to the house on the corner where they cracked corn. I don't care when for the third time this week, gunshots echo off the pavement. Jimmy's mama is bitten by the blue-tailed fly. They rush her to the ER, but Jimmy only finds out when he's sent to the office, and he won't stop crying. Jimmy cracked corn on the playground again. One of the other kids saw him crying, and now they won't let him forget the way his mama's body cradled the ground, how neatly she fit into a pine box. For the first time in Jimmy's elementary school memory, his heart is beating hot against his throat. The pressure in his lungs is building. He would say something in her defense, but the heat has soldered his lips closed. Jimmy is on the ground again with another set of scraped knees. His foster parents do not ask, and no one else cares. Jimmy is unraveling in ways he cannot understand, and soon there will be nothing left but a thread. A month later, Jimmy is on the playground again. No one has spoken to him all day, and he does not mind. One of the older boys is gaining a crowd by showing off what he has in his waistband. The boy does not know how to hold it, how to use it, how to keep the safety on, but he knows it makes him look bigger when he waves it around. So he waves it around, he pulls the trigger, everyone runs. Except for Jimmy, the only one who remembers him anyway. They buried him neath the sycamore tree, his epitaph there for all to see. Beneath this stone I'm forced to lie, the victim of a blue-tailed fly. Jimmy cracked corn and I don't care. His mom is gone away.
That is Niara Williams from Duchenne. Following up her strong round one performance, you can see that the incredible beauty of her voice extends beyond just the spoken word in that piece. Great writer, great singer, great performer.
Okay.
Here's some scores about
From low
that.
to high, we have an 8.8, an 8.9, a 9.0, a 9.2, and a 9.2. Give it up for Niara. And welcome to the stage, Mr. Charlie Curtis Beard.
So that's a 27-1 for Niara. Here's Charlie up.
All right, I'm Charlie Curtis Beard, and I'm a senior at LHS.
You know!
I've been told You're different because you actually know how to respect women. As if respecting women was like an unknown picture, and I'm Leonardo da Vinci drawing it out years before it even existed, like every single guy is in a pack of wolves that slowly stalk their prey because they only want sex, as if I'm Thomas Edison and girls are light bulbs and it took me thousands of tries before I could actually get it right. See, I didn't have a dad for the first 7 years of my life, so I spent a large amount of my childhood looking for the definition of masculinity, but I was looking in dictionaries and indexes that were created by deadbeat dads and women abusers, so I don't think I have the answer yet. But I feel like my answer will differ from what society perceives as masculinity. Because of this, I've been called prude. Like I rolled too far from the tree of disrespect, planted on the grounds of dishonesty, and rolled over to the much shorter tree that was planted when black teens like me would actually get killed for saying hi to a white woman because it was considered disrespectful. When did those black teens become our idols? And when did Emmett Till ever ride up to his best friend's house in a Ford Focus wearing Nikes and a snapback, conversating over terms of bros before hoes? Did you hit that? Have you smashed that? Have you tapped that? If these are flashbacks, then it's no wonder why it's perceived that all guys have remained exactly the same. It's a wonder how our sexuality follows us around like our shadows. As a man, I'm taught to wear mine on me like it's my skin, but what happens if my skin is already black? I've been told that all guys are douchebags and all girls are tricks, and douches play tricks on tricks, but here I thought tricks were for kids. I've been told that boys will be boys and boys will be men, and men sleep with women, so just do it, but I am no man. These hands are not the match that ignites a woman's innocence, nor are they the firefighters that put them out. I am no God. I'm simply just an alien. See, in high school, I never remembered a single thing about pre-cal, but I'm constantly reminded how to take a woman's virginity as fast as a freight train can take a life. Use lies to get inside of her and use heartbreak to tear your way out through her chest. This is no game. Charlie, you man up or be a punk, because virginity is not a prerequisite to masculinity. You hit it and quit it in order to be a man. You lose your virginity as fast as a gust can take away a flame, but I feel like Thomas Edison because I'm still so afraid of the dark. I think I'll keep this light. See, I don't know what being a man means yet, but I know that I'm a skyscraper, only as tall as my torn beliefs reaching for it. My dad assures me that I'm getting closer every day, but it's hard to see through the darkness. So until I reach it, I think I'll keep this light.
That is Charlie from Lincoln High with his round 2 poem, following up a strong performance. 27-4 what he carries in the first round.
From
Big
Lona
things
High,
from
we have
Charlie.
an 8.5, a 9.1, a 9.2, a 9.3, and a 10. Keep it going for Vicky.
All right, so that's a 27-6 for Charlie, giving him a 55 even for round 2. This is Vicky from Norfolk.
Hi, I'm still Vicky. I'm still from Norfolk. The title of this piece is Grammar Nazi, and I'm going to move this up. That's not the full title. All right, Grammar Nazi. We're walking hand in hand between the barbed wire of strict syntax, our conjunctive bodies pressed against each other's heaving breath, the stars on our chest marking us, the numbers on our wrists scarring us, approaching the soldier, faltering steps, feet sucked into the mud, his meaty hand slashes between us, hyphenating our interlocked fingers. You and I, we become you and I, individual clauses separated by a poisonous semicolon of stigma. You and I become parts of speech. You and I become she, and this lexicon is verboten. This is no regular Nazi escorting me to my cell, but a grammar Nazi, and pronouns are his favorite weapon of divisive genocide. Gradually, he had invaded my peaceful world. Guarding the avenues through which my vocabulary innocently strolled, he reminded me not to slip in conversation because one word could be seen as a threat to the totalitarian state I pretended to live in harmony with. But then, like a crystal knocked of oppression, my security was shattered like glass. Every thought had to be edited and revised in order to keep myself from being detected by the armies of Gestapo in my mind. Silence! was my bomb shelter. Friends were strangers passing by after curfew, and I could not escape the feeling that light was leaking through my windows boarded up with euphemisms, and I was simply waiting for the artillery to fall. But when the solution was finalized, I willingly boarded the cattle trains that carried me even farther into rhetorical isolation. I did not resist the uniformed bully, wrenching me apart from the incorrect antecedent to the subject of my affection. For years, I sat in that cell alone, ribs peaking like a climax in a tragedy. Her name became a homonym to the sound of my rasping breath because I was too weak to speak, but she was all I wanted to say. I could have stayed there forever. But my identity was a fragment, and I needed to complete the thought that is who I am, because being human is a run-on sentence. You cannot stop it, or tame it, or lock it up. I beat against that barred door, and it opened. As the light pierced my eyes, blinded by ignorant darkness, it illuminated the black lines of a swastika hooked in my skin. And I realized, through this whole sentence, I was my own persecutor.
Wow, that is Vicky from Norfolk. She's had two amazing debut pieces here today, with some similar thematic elements.
Numbers are so great.
But
They're so
wowzers,
great.
that was some next level stuff
So
on that
great.
grammar
Okay.
Nazi piece.
From
I
low
hope
to
the judges
high,
get it right.
we have an 8.7, an 8.9, a 9.1, a 9.5, and a 9.8. Make noise for poets, and keep that noise going for Amanda.
So that's a 27.5 for Vicky. I think it could have been better. But I'm a big fan of that. Here's Amanda from Waverly.
Hi, I'm Amanda Marco. This poem is dedicated to my best friend, Haley. On September 23rd, I gave you peanut butter for your birthday, knowing it would last you maybe 2 days. You smiled at the package while simultaneously bear-hugging me, squeezing the breath out of me with every obnoxious embrace, making me dizzy from being spun around. But maybe you weren't thankful for the jar of Skippy. Maybe you were happy to see a letter taped to said Skippy jar promising you cheese curds for lunch, the forbidden fruit for future ballerinas. But it's been over a year, and I've changed so much. I let my hair grow longer. I can't eat peanut butter without getting your last word stuck in my throat. And road trips don't seem as wonderful because our last one was chauffeured by a mortician. So every road is like a leftover strand of hair still growing in a child-sized coffin. A sharp reminder that all I have left of you is a conversation on my phone about how much peanut butter it would take to entirely fill my bassoon. I just assumed we could finish our conversation later. But you know better than anyone that assumptions are like fish hooks that string us along but never actually catch anything, because you survived 2 suicidal parents and anorexia, and if you were to be killed by an 18-year-old boy who wasn't thinking clearly, I hope there's a better explanation than kids just being kids. We talked every day, even though you moved to Minnesota. I knew it was going to be hard to not have you by my side at every hour. I knew it was going to be hard. And I still don't know when I'm going to see you again, which is a pulsing panic throughout me, reminding me of the way you laugh, the way you cry, the way you sneeze like a baby Labrador. And I could drive up to Edina in 6 hours and 4 minutes and sit on the road where a privileged teenage boy made a mistake. But I'm sitting in my room just thinking about how I'm a lot more alone than I was a year ago. That night, after I got out of my horrendous band uniform, I checked my phone, and I expected a clever text about the exact units it would take to make my bassoon a really expensive peanut butter jar, but all I had was a voicemail telling me that you were in a car accident. Your uncle's concerned and trembling voice cracking on my answering machine, telling me that you and your aunt collided with drunk teenage stupidity, and that you were on an operating table surrounded by doctors who didn't know just how needed the frail heartbeat they were working on was. How could anyone possibly understand that you were clinging to the life that you said we would share together, and I was clinging to that promise? He told me how you pushed your aunt away from falling glass that would have killed her. He told me how brave you were, but I already knew. Then, on March 21st at 10:06 p.m., I got the message that you didn't make it, so I collapsed because the weight that I used to share with you was transferred to my already splitting shoulders, and I hit my head as my world crumbled to the floor where my mom cradled me and tried to ease the pain, tried to fill the void of a best friend lost. And that pain is still very real today, but it only prickles my heart instead of shredding it. I still get teary at the mention of you, and every cemetery is a reminder of where I last saw your face. And every pair of Oxfords is a reminder of your perfect dancer's feet. And every Culver's is a reminder of how much I just want to share some cheese curds with you. And Haley, every jar of peanut butter is a reminder that I can't carry on your birthday tradition.
That is Amanda from Waverly with, I believe, a brand new piece.
Thank you, Amanda.
Remarkable,
Judges.
personal, and fearless
3, 2,
writing
1.
coming out in a lot of ways in this battle. This is a good one.
A 9.0, a 9.1, a 9.2, and a 9.5. Give it up for the poet. Keep it going for Sierra.
All right, so that is a 27.3 for Amanda, adding to her 26.2, giving her 53.5. And then Sierra is up next.
Okay, hi, Sierra again. This is called For My Ugly. My mom told me a picture was taken of us the second I was born, but when the photos were printed, that particular one came up black. Take one glance at me and you'll notice bright red lipstick. A second glance and you'll call me a pretty girl while you admire skin color that is only ever called beautiful. Please stop. I am not beautiful because one-night stands bear children classified as accidents, a wanted abortion treated like a spilled glass of milk, so convenient to rid of such a small stain. The reckless want the easy way out. I am ugly not because I look it, but because I have seen it, touched it with my hands on anti-fested, dirty carpet, sleeping faces, on strawberry shortcake polyester sheets. Sunday, watching mom and the stepdad drink down their next fight. I am from a family that never was. Secrets of the insane calling up from the vents into my ears as they lay on the top bunk waiting for answers in the middle of the night. My skin comes from a man I'll never meet. My eyes come from a woman I wish I didn't know. I am ugly, red slap skin from the time I drew a boat on the wall. I am bad still to this day for doing that. Childhood innocence consumed by violence called discipline. Spanking teaches respect, but I only learned to be silent, carrying bad behavior in the burning flesh. My world has never been safe. My heart has never not been broken. My heavy German shoulders carry excuses in the word bitch so that my mom doesn't have to. She has enough baggage as it is. She carries guilt for not finishing high school. Well, I carry guilt that if I wasn't born, she might have had a chance. My hand still clinging to the rope she tried to hang herself with on my birthday. Finally understanding why 13 is an unlucky number. Finally realizing my mom and dad never got along. Mental illness and whiskey unable to correspond correctly. Narcissism spitting at my opinions that were always wrong. Father figure, something I never had because discipline came before kindness. Claims he loves his girls, but daddy, your ear pulls and hits only made your daughters fear you. No more drinks, no more ugly, please. Mommy can't handle herself sober. How could she handle you drunk? Sit down and eat the peanut butter sandwich. Ignore the yelling, Alexis. It's money today, not you, little sister. Your glass of milk won't spill. Mommy is just stomping around, and it's probably better that she's just stomping. Me carrying the memory of someone locking me in a closet. Sounds of laughter because I guess it was funny. I don't remember laughing. I tell myself it wasn't someone. It was everything from a place made of blood-stained nightgowns, from failures of not being like the generation before, from liars and cheaters, from keys jabbed through noses, from I'm sorry, baby, it won't happen again, from Raymond, don't call me a bitch in front of the kids. Kids who grew up to accept the ugly past, yet the sad story has made us sad girls. I am from an ugly that can't be enhanced by the color of a CoverGirl lipstick, but can only be disguised by the fake smile we learned as children, and then some. But it doesn't bother me that I'm ugly. What bothers me is that I'm the only one who sees it.
That is Sierra from Millard South. I'm going to let the scores come in here and go correct my own scores. Here they come.
You know what to do. And do it soon. 3, 2, 1. I like saying that. Okay, from low to high, we have an 8.9, an 8.9, a 9, a 9.1, and a 9.2. Give it up for the poets. And welcome to the stage, Monty.
My name is Monty. I am from Millard West High School. I plead not guilty. That is not to say I did not steal the cookie. I definitely stole the cookie. I just don't believe that cookie theft is a crime worthy of intergalactic court. Particularly this cookie, which tasted like it was baked in the fire and brimstone of hell to tempt little children into studying their parents' tax forms, because it sucks all joy out of life. Anyways, space peers, it surprised me to find out that intergalactic court functioned much the same as the American court system, right down to the jury of my peers being a group of people I have never met. Another surprising similarity is all you space aliens speak an Earth language, just like in the movies. My first point will be a list of things that tasted better than the cookie. A Sprite can, a Mac keyboard, a glass mannequin head half full of gumballs. To prove the arbitrariness of intergalactic law involving dessert, I licked all those things. 2/3 of them were salty. 3/3 of them tasted better than the cookie. Just how much better, you ask? Well, to figure that out, go down to your local shop class and find a little pile of sawdust. And then using nothing but a glue stick, shape it into a patty. And then stick it in your mouth and chew it! That is roughly the texture of the aforementioned baked good. If your planet does not have shop classes, find a lollipop and wrap it in sandpaper. And then lick it until you get to the center. It'll take too many licks. Space peers. Those were not chocolate chips. Those were a byproduct of fracking. And that cookie tasted old enough to be rejected by Noah and all of the animals on his ark. Now, turn to the entity on your right and imagine them without a mouth. Everything else is exactly the same, but they have no mouth. Their kitchen is populated by the same utensils, microwaves, toasters, and ovens, but they have no mouth. This demographic is the only place I can imagine that could possibly enjoy these discs of discarded sawdust molested by molten obsidian and served with a glass of pure lies instead of milk. Because they have no mouths, but they have ovens. So I ask you, space peers, and I ask you, God, and I ask you, space God, and I ask you, audience at home, was it not in the pursuit of justice that I stole the baked good? My aunt and uncle had ordered it from my brother's wrestling fundraiser, and if I had not intercepted the disgusting thing, they would have suffered the worst of fates. A disappointing dessert. And also, they hadn't paid yet, so there's that too.
Thank you, Monty. Judges, 3, 2, 1. From low to high, we have a 9.1, a 9.1, a 9.3, a 9.3, again, and a 9.4 for Monty. Give it up for Charlotte!
That's a 27.7 for Monty. The highest score of the bout, or of the round. The judges were ready to laugh. That gives them a total of 20.
Hello, my name is Charlotte, and I forgot that I was next, so hi. This poem is called Fran. Last night, I laid in bed thinking of you. And last night, I wished it had worked. I wished that 12 pills were enough, and I wished that the 4th time was the charm. I wished you were gone. Not gone in a hospital bed, gone with no visitors allowed, gone. The kind of gone that won't let me keep holding on to your name and my lips, your broken skin and my broken skin, our brittle bones holding on to each other for dear life, that is, until you let go. This morning, I wished I'd never met you. I wished that there was someone in our religion class with a last name that started with an F, so that the alphabetical seating arrangement wouldn't have put your G next to my E. I wish I never would have noticed how pretty you are, and you don't have to smile. The first time you did this, I didn't know you. And the second time, I was doing it too. The third time, I kept you close, hidden. This time, I haven't stopped crying since the first time I said it out loud, and my dad said, no, you can't visit her, she only does it for attention. And then I cried more, because I'm afraid that I might agree. I'm afraid that you are what perpetuates our parents' ignorance. I'm afraid of you. And you don't know this, but I'm not so strong. I can't help but think of our car and Promethean heat in that night in my basement with all-time low in that crazy loud darkness. I want us to grow out of our nasty habits together. I want to be there to promise that you're still exciting with all that other stuff, but you didn't do your government papers, so you wanted to die, and he dumped you, so you wanted to die, and he dumped you again. None of these things are worth it. And what makes me so mad is that him, the one that put you in that hospital bed 3 times, he was holding your hand on the 4th trip. And I'm sure you love the beautiful irony, but he doesn't deserve your hand. He doesn't know how to take care of your hand, but he can have it. If he wants the responsibility of keeping that hand away from blades and pills and cigarettes, fine. It'll seem easy until he realizes that you have 2 hands. The same 2 hands that stole my heart. Tonight, I'll lay in bed and I'll think of you. And I'll wish that it works. I'll wish these new pills, new doctors, luck. I'll wish that they're enough, and I'll wish that I'm enough for you to come back to.
All right, that is Charlotte from Marion High School closing out our bout. A very great piece of personal writing.
All right, Charlotte, you say funnier things. You talk.
Oh, can we, I don't know. You put me on the spot.
Look how good they did.
Numbers are really great. Okay, from low to high, we have an 8.
Come on.
An 8.7. An 8.7. An 8.7. I feel you guys always have all right. And an 8.9.
All right, that's the end of the second preliminary bout. Give it up for all the poets. There's one more preliminary starting around whatever time it is now. And so in just a moment, we will be announcing the top 4 who will be moving to the finals at 7 p.m., which will also be in this room. That moment is now.
Can we clap for the DJ first?
Oh, yeah.
Let's clap for the DJ, who's awesome.
Yeah. And for your judges of this bout. All right. And your 4 people moving on to the finals are Amanda, Charlie, Niara, and Vicky. Woo! All right. If you are a poet third bout, come to the stage right now for the bout.
So those poets are joining Haley, Maribel, Bianca, and Kayla in the finals that are going to start at 7 o'clock. And we've got another bout starting in just a little bit. So come back and check that out. I'm going to start a new live stream for that. Thanks for tuning in for this one. So right now we've got Haley, Maribel, Bianca, and Kayla, and Niara, Charlie, Vicky, and Amanda. Amanda made it in with just a 1/10 of a point over Monty. He made a very strong surge with his second poem. Nearly made it in. So I'm going to start a new live stream. I'll see you over there. See you in a bit. Bye.